Ben Affleck is setting the record straight on that Grammys meme. The 50-year-old actor opened up to The Hollywood Reporter for their March 16th cover story, and he shared why his face looked the way it did, and what exactly he whispered into his wife, Jennifer Lopez's ear, telling the outlet, "I had a good time at the Grammys. My wife is going, and I thought, well, there will be good music. It might be fun. At movie award shows, it's speeches and like sound mixing webinars, but I thought this would be fun. I saw Grammy host Trevor Noah approach, and I was like, oh God, they were framing us in this shot, but I didn't know they were rolling. I leaned into her and I was like, as soon as they start rolling, I'm going to slide away from you and leave you sitting next to Trevor. She goes, you better fucking not leave. That's a husband and wife thing. I mean, some of it is. I'm like, all right, who is this act? Like I don't keep up. My wife does, obviously. And yeah, it is your wife's work event." Ben continued on saying that in the past, he was never exactly on his best behavior at award shows, but this is the first time anyone has ever talked about it so much, adding that it created a, quote, tremendous stigma, adding, I've gone to events and been pissed off. I've gone and been bored. I've gone to award shows and been drunk, a bunch. Nobody ever once said I'm drunk, but at the Grammys, they were like, he's drunk. And I thought, that's interesting. That raises a whole other thing about whether or not it's wise to acknowledge addiction, because there's a lot of compassion, but there is still a tremendous stigma, which is often quite inhibiting. I do think it disincentivizes people from making their lives better. The Gone Girl actor, who married the 53-year-old singer last year, also revealed how talented his wife is at social media before he shared why he was nervous for this interview, telling The Hollywood Reporter, "My wife's a genius at that. I don't know if there's anybody who understands Instagram better than her. In fact, she gave me a talk this morning before this interview. She thinks that because of experiences that I've had, I've become very guarded, and she's right. I view these things as landmines, where if you say one wrong thing, your career might be over. I had a really painful experience where I did an interview where I was really vulnerable, and the entire pickup was something that was not only not right, it was actually the opposite of what I meant." The interview Ben referred to was the December 2021 conversation he had with Howard Stern, where the Tender Bar actor was very open about his alcohol addiction and the demise of his marriage to his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner. But after the interview, his comments made headlines in a negative way, sharing his feelings about it with the outlet, "The idea that I was blaming my wife for my drinking. To be clear, my behavior is my responsibility entirely. The point that I was trying to make was a sad one. Anyone who's been through divorce makes that calculus of how much do we try? We loved each other. We care about each other. We have respect for each other. I was trying to say, hey, look, I was drinking too much, and the less happy you become, whether it's your job, your marriage, it's just that as your life becomes more difficult, if you're doing things to fill a hole that aren't healthy, you're going to start doing more of those things. I think I was pretty articulate about that. It was the New York Post who deliberately mischaracterized it in order to make it clickbait, and everyone else then picked it up. And it didn't matter how many times I said, I do not feel this way. I'm telling you, I don't blame my ex-wife for my alcoholism. So yeah, it's hard." Ben concluded with The Hollywood Reporter by sharing the advice that J.Lo gave him that morning before his interview, revealing, "But anyway, so Jennifer tells me today, relax, be yourself, have fun. You're actually a fun guy who is real and genuine, and you just seem so serious. Do I seem serious? But as in many things, she's really right, and she loves me. She's looking out for me. She's trying to help me. So it's like, maybe I ought to fucking listen to her." Jen and Ben tied the knot last year in a Lux ceremony at Ben's Georgia estate, but they first surprised fans with whirlwind I-dos in Las Vegas. Access Hollywood recently chatted with the shotgun wedding star, and she opened up about tying the knot with Ben and revealed whose idea it was to elope in Sin City before the big ceremony.
We got married down in Savannah, and it was everybody was panicked about the weather, like whether it was gonna just be pouring rain or if it was gonna be so hot that everybody was gonna be uncomfortable. So that was a big deal. So we just ran off to Vegas and got married a month before.
That'll do
All the
it.
pressure off. It was like, okay, our wedding was perfect. Now whatever happens on that day is
That's
fine.
actually the perfect way to do it. You just take the pressure
I know
off.
it was Ben's idea. I can't take any credit for it.
Yeah, I can think of other scenarios in life. You should do the same sort of thing. Do something before that takes the pressure off for the actual event.
Yeah.
Mhm.